So I'll introduce myself. I'm Jennifer Burnell, and I am the director of the Montana History Portal for the State Library. And I've been working, as I said, on this project for about 11 years. I got hired at the State Library in 2011 for a grant project, and then was able to stay on in 2013 as the director of this project. I ran it alone until 2.5 years ago, and was able to hire my first employee, which was really exciting for me because it's a lot of work, and I was really excited to have some support because I have big ideas. I have things I want to do for this project beyond what we were doing. And when he took that position at the Historical Society, the State Library decided to keep it open for vacancy savings for a period of time. So my fingers are crossed that we'll still fill that position. I just don't know how soon. So it's kind of on hold at the moment. But how many of you have used the Montana History Portal? Let's start there. Okay, good. So we have some familiarity room.
Quick question.
Yeah.
The Montana Memory Project?
The same thing.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm glad you asked that question because I forget to talk about that. A little over a year ago, we decided to change our name because Montana Memory Project was terrible in Google searches because people were searching for Montana history and not finding us. They were seeing Montana Memory as an Alzheimer's organization or a dementia organization. They didn't connect that as a history organization. And so it really messed with our analytics and how we were being found, and that was problematic. And I have long advocated to change the name. Last year that came to fruition, so we became the Montana History Portal. I think it's a better representation of who and what we do, because what the History Portal does is we are just a platform for access. I work with museums and libraries and other institutions, archives all over the state to take their records that are usually hidden away in file cabinets and in storage boxes, digitize those, and make them accessible online. I don't own any of those. I don't take any of those products away from you. They stay in those local museums and in those local archives. All I do is make a physical or a digital copy to share online and make it searchable so that record is discoverable. I've had people say, well, those are our pictures, though. We don't want to give them to you. And sometimes it takes some education to explain, but I'm not taking it from you. I'm making it so people know what you have. And one of the instances of that was Great Falls History Museum, the Cascade County Historical Society. At first was kind of resistant. They have a new director now, and that attitude has very much changed. But the former director there was like, I don't want to give you that stuff. And I'm like, but who knows what you have? How do people know you have those images in your collection? Because you don't have them on your walls. You don't have enough wall space for all those pictures to be up. And he kind of stared at me funny. And I said, they have to come in and ask for specific images. You have to have somebody on staff with the knowledge of how to find that image and to dig it out, to share it. So all I'm doing is giving a digital copy that people can look at, and then it's tied back to the contributing institution. That institution is linked. It's linked with contact information, how to get a hold of them again. And then I refer any questions about reproduction or how to use that in a publication or something like that back to the contributor. I don't answer any of those questions. So I refer that all back. So I want to preface the whole conversation with that because I want you to understand what it is that the History Portal does. We have now, I'm going to scroll up a little bit on this page so you can see some of the numbers. We have 45,000 images, about 13,000 documents, and that does not include PDF documents. That's a separate category. About 4,300 audio files, so those are usually oral histories, but we also have some radio interviews and things like that. We have 2,650 yearbooks so far, and we're continuing to add to all of these, and about 92,000 records altogether. So it's a vast amount of content, all contributed by institutions in the state of Montana. The Historical Society is our largest contributor. They've contributed, I'll have to look at their page, probably 18 collections now of content, including photographs and documents, the prison records, the livestock records, various different kinds of documents that they have and have made available online. They did a big push before closing so that they could build their new building of adding more content, which we're grateful for because it gives people access to that content that right now is locked away while they're doing their remodel and their addition to the building. The University of Montana here is probably our second biggest contributor. They have also added several pieces of information. we were both running on an old platform hosted by UCLC, or Content DM, just a platform name. They decided to give up their contract with Content DM and move their content to us, which I was really grateful for, because it then made it broader open to the public. You didn't have to be a student to get into that content. So we're really grateful for their partnership as well. At the bottom part of the page here, you can see some featured content, and I'm going to scroll up a little more so you can see that a little better. There are a wide variety of topics represented on this page. The Charles E. Morris collection, if you are not familiar with Charles Morris, he was a photographer. A lot of his content became postcards. That's what he and his wife did for a business. He took photos all over the state, and then he had his wife colorize them and make them available in postcard format. And so when you see an image 6 times, it's because it's a different postcard each time. You'll see some really similar images, but they might have slight variations in colorization and the postcard format that they were presented on. Urban Indian collection is from Helena right now. We hope to add more to that. Early photographs of Lincoln County. We have an exhibit about Marcus Daly and another exhibit about Stan Lind, and I'll talk about exhibits and what those are. So it just kind of gives you a preview of some of the newest or some content we're trying to highlight on the page. I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the page because I'd like to show you kind of how to navigate this site. It is a very in-depth site. There's a lot here and a lot of information. And I'm going to start with this blue banner across the middle here. You can see that there's collections, contributors, and exhibits. These are the 3 primary areas of the site. So when you click on collections, you get a list of all of our collections on the site. Did I go? Yeah, I did. And you'll see I'm logged in right now as an admin. So you're going to see 240 results on my screen, but if you click that button on your screens, you're going to see 229, I think. So we have 229 published collections. I have 11 that are in the works, so to speak, that aren't yet published. When you scroll through this, it's an alphabetical list. It's 5 pages. You can see pages 1 through 5 here. You can see there's an order by, and if you click that arrow, there's a drop-down menu under that that lets you order by A to Z or Z to A, or most recently added, or the earliest items added. And as a matter of fact, the oldest items on the site then, as that would translate.
As far as how long ago they were added?
Yes, how long ago they were added to the site. So it is a little bit misleading because it's not necessarily the oldest collection we have. It's just that I added it to this site first. And we moved. So like I said, we were on a different platform called Content DM. We are now on this platform called Recollect. So that is a little misleading as to earliest added. Also at the top of this page here, there is this little menu of options, the display as. The hamburger menu there means it's going to display as a list. And as I scroll down this page, there are 48 items on each page. And so it displays just like this as a list. But if I wanted to see those thumbnails a little bigger, the 4 squares next to that, next to the display as, changes this so you get a little bigger preview of what the collection looks like. And this is consistent across every page. So if you do a search and you hit get a search result list, you're going to still see those 2 buttons, either display as a list or display as thumbnails. And so you get this different way to view items. It's really helpful when you're on a collection of photographs. So then you get this list in a different format. You'll notice up here there is uncheck all, check all, download, contact us, my collection, share, and compare. You probably are not seeing my collections just yet, unless you happen to be a frequent user and have signed in. Anybody seeing my collections? Okay. I'm going to talk about signing in my collections in a little bit. When these little check boxes are with the uncheck, check all, so you can check them all or uncheck them all, or you can check one at a time by clicking in these little squares. That gives you the opportunity to select that collection to do something with, okay? The download button's a little misleading. You are not going to actually download the items. In most cases, you'll download the metadata or the information about the items, okay? You won't be able to download the physical items. The contact us, if you wanted to contact me about this collection, you check it, hit contact us, and it would email me that link. There's a little email form you would fill out, and it would say, you would say, hey, I have a question about this collection, and it would send that directly to me. And that opens a ticket in our ticketing system at the State Library. The share button is just that. You can send it as a link to share with somebody. If you go, oh my gosh, I found the perfect set of collections or the perfect set of items, and you want to share that with somebody, you can hit that share button. And again, it opens up like an email where you, or Facebook or Twitter, wherever you'd like to share that, and you can share that information. The compare button lets you compare two images side by side. And so we'll talk about how to do that when we get into some of the content a little more specifically. One thing to note that I just found out a colleague of mine didn't know, there are 5 pages here. When you do searches, you're going to see as many as 33 or 250 pages or whatever, however many pages of content there are. You can change this number, delete the 1 and put in whatever number you want, and it'll jump you to the page number you want. Okay? So that is just a quicker way to get through some search results if you think it's further down the line rather than paging through 1 through however many pages there are. Under the contributors at the blue tab across the top, we have a similar list. Oh, and it wants me to confirm I'm a human. This is a new thing. We've had too many people recently, too many bots on our page. And so our platform decided to institute that to verify that people are real. This is a list of all the contributing institutions, again in alphabetical order by the name of the institution. And each one of these opens a page that talks about the institution and the collections they have contributed. Yes?
Are contributors always institutions and not people?
Right. I don't have a way for individuals to contribute. And that's a great question, Cheryl. Individuals to contribute means that I need to list you as a contributor, and that would mean I would need to list your contact information if somebody wanted to use your image. And I have real resistant feelings about giving people your personal contact information, and so I don't have a great way for individuals to contribute from their personal collections. I have limited it to using organizations. So you will see there's some interesting organizations here. I have the Alternative Energy Resources, or ARROW, here. I have Deer Lodge County as a county here. The Archie Bray Foundation, the Arley High School. These are not necessarily your typical organizations that you might see, but it is a way for this content to be housed in a public place with somebody with authority to say, yes, that can be used or can't be used in a publication down the road, because most of the stuff is maintained by copyrights. The other thing that individuals don't often know is the provenance of how they got something. Who took it, who the creator was, if it's a photograph, or who created the document. And that's another thing we really struggle with, where organizations tend to know the provenance a little bit better so we don't get into copyright trouble. Because everything I'm doing is republishing. I have to be really careful about copyright and permissions. Okay. If I open one of these pages, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit and open one that has a few things on it. I'm going to go down to Carter County. I love picking on Carter County. How many of you have been to Ekalaka, Montana? Ah, few brave souls that have driven that far. You have to want to get there, don't you? It's no easy way to get to Ekalaka. It is a long trip. And so I love that Carter County has contributed so much to our site because they have a great museum. It's in this old automotive shop. It's built out of sandstone. It's a beautiful building. They do have a dyno section, but they also have their local history in their museum. So they have a combination of things. And Saber Moore, who's the director there, has been the person behind adding all of this content. So you can see here a description of them, a link right to their homepage, and a list of their collection items on the left-hand side there. And you can click right into their collections from this page. Okay, so if you find something and you know that Carter County contributed it and you want to, hey, I want to use this, I'm gonna do an exhibit, can I get a reproduction of this and put it in my museum? You can click on Carter County Museum's homepage to find Saber's contact information at the museum and reach out to her that way. Okay, and that's how I usually tell people to get a hold of people who have added content. If I scroll down on this page as well a little further, you're gonna start to see some the list of their collection And then I'm logged in, so I'm seeing some gobbledygook there. But then you start to see some previews of the types of content they have added. So in this case, there is a bunch of photos from the Took bucking horse collection. So you're going to see horses right off the bat here. Lots of bucking horses from Took, which is a famous name from Carter County. Okay. And then if you keep scrolling, you will see the other types of content they have added. And again, they're listed on the left hand for quick review. You don't have to scroll all the way down the page. Okay. Questions about collection or contributor pages? Yes.
Halfway along, there's one called War Paint that just says.
Yes, War Paint that is not showing up. I don't know what happened there. It's a great question. I see that too. I was wondering about that. I think I have to replace those images. Looks like there was an image with the formatting, or an issue with the formatting of the image. So that's a great question.
Did you cover this while I was out? Good possibility. The difference between collections and contributors.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going through. Is that the collections are the content itself, the types of content that are in there. The contributors are who contributed the content. And we did kind of cover this, and we're going to get to the exhibits button next. Okay.
Do you scan anything personally, or this is all?
Yeah, this is all done by the local institutions. I hope you find funding if you need funding. I point you to the History Foundation for Montana History. They changed their name recently, as well as some other grants to help find that. I can point you to vendors if you want to send it off. You can do it in-house locally, and I'll give you some pointers on how to scan it and what quality to scan it, because that's a big issue. And we'll see that with the Jack Demmons collection when we open it. There are some lower quality images there compared to some of the other content on the site. And it's very noticeable. So I help with all of that, but I don't actually do the scanning myself. Okay. Great questions. Okay, we're going to jump to the exhibits tab next. So if you want to click on that tab, this page is broken down into 5 sections. You'll see the results over here on the left is 5 results found. There are Adventure Labs. Adventure Lab is actually an app on your phone so that you can go take a tour of a community. And so if you have images of downtown Missoula, for example, and you want to create a tour of downtown Missoula, you can do that through our Adventure Lab app. We have an Adventure Lab license. We have to pay for that. To create those kinds of tours. And what we've done, the way we've set ours up, is that you are looking at a historic image of a building, for example, while you're standing in the spot where that photo was taken. So you're seeing it from the historic perspective in the image on your phone, and you're seeing it how it looks today, and being able to compare and contrast. And you do a little walking tour. It's considered a geocaching app, because you're using coordinates to get to the right spot to find it. So it's kind of just a unique way to interact with history and to see a community then and now. We've gotten a lot of great feedback on how we set these up. There are Adventure Labs for all kinds of things. I'm going to open one so you can see what this looks like. I'm going to open Butte just because I like this one. It's Butte. So I actually have mapped this one out and put the points in here. I don't have this on all of them. But you can see that where in the town you are walking and where the points are. This is recreated in this exhibit page so that if you can't go to Butte, you can still see what this looks like. So you can read about the exhibit itself. You can read about each building, and there's a photo of it. And then as you scroll down, there's also a Google Map view of it, so you can see what it looks like today. And we've tried to do this for folks who are homebound, so that, or can't travel but are interested in learning more about Butte, that they can actually see the then and now pictures side by side on the computer. But if you pull it up on your phone, it's going to want you to be in that place and to start walking and to take the tour. So we've tried to do it both ways. I traveled to Beehive homes and nursing homes and present this, and they love it because they aren't going to get to Butte again, right? And so they think it's really cool that they get to go see the then and now photos of these areas. So
I was thinking that would be a great tool for teachers in a classroom too, where you can't get the kids to Ekalaka, but you can.
you can do a tour. Yeah, and we only have about 7 of those so far. I hope to do more they are time consuming to create, and that's part of the problem. And then you really have to be in the community and walk it a couple of times to make sure, one, it's walkable, to two, that your points are set right. So it takes a little extra time. And so Dave was building those for me before he left. And we have one at the University of Montana campus right now, one in Butte, one in Kalispell, one in Great Falls, one on the Helena Capitol, although that one does not have the Google view, Street View, because the Capitol campus is not all scanned. And some of the locations at the U of M campus don't have Google Street View because it's within the campus. What am I missing? Virginia City. I think there's one more. Oh, we built one for Yellowstone, but we couldn't put it in Yellowstone Park on the Adventure Lab app because you have to pay to get into the park, and they want these to be all free locations to access. So even though we built it, we ended up not being able to put it on the Adventure Lab app.
So these are tours that your department creates, not individual organizations that
You could, yes. I could help you through that. You'd have to use my license for an Adventure Lab because I pay for that license, and I'd have to set you up to do that.
I think the Bonner Museum has been trying to get a walking tour organized. Is that right, Kim and Judy and who else? Callie, were you working on it too?
Yeah, it's an audio tour that
Yep.
happens like with tripwires and such.
Oh, okay.
Like the
It's
actual
Sierra
photos.
52 out of Helena. It's a young group of collaborators that are trying to get going with that.
So I will make another suggestion to you. There's another app or platform called Easy Tour that will allow you to do audio tours. It's designed to do like a docent-led tour within your museum or outside, either one, and you have several points that you can walk to, and that's another really great. It's IZI Tour, or Travel, IZI Travel. Easy, IZI Travel. Yeah. Yeah, if you have questions on that, please let me know. I've played around with both. This Adventure Lab was just really great because it allowed people to pull out their phone, have the app right there, and it's a big deal. Those people that geocache travel to do these. And so we will have the same person comment on all 7 Adventure Labs in the same day. They are driving through the state doing an Adventure Lab, driving through the state doing an Adventure Lab, and within a week or less, they've hit them all because that's what they do. So it's kind of interesting. We hit kind of a niche market with doing that.
And you're just hoping to build it further.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Events page, you're going to see events that have happened in Montana history, like the 1972 Montana Constitutional Convention. And if I scroll down this list, there are several more. Bitterroot flower in Montana and its importance, the decline of bison population, the hell or high water, the floods of Montana. And I'm getting down here to the very bottom, which is traces of Chimberjack. And my computer jumped on me. Sorry. Why is that jumping? I hate it when it does that. There is this particular collection of content that Cheryl right here in this room did. So I do a teacher workshop each year, and with that workshop, they have to create an exhibit for me. We pay them a stipend for their efforts. I pay for their trip to the workshop. That's all funded through grant funding. And then they create something to go on our website. And in this case, it's the movie, which I'm betting most of you that are at Bonner Museum have taken a look at this already. So it's just very cool that we get to do this. And it tells a story alongside some of the pictures. So it's like having an exhibit on your walls, but in this digital format. So you see some text, you see some images, and then you can click on any of these and enlarge them and see them on full screen.
I forgot if this is the case, but I'm hoping it is. Since there are so many people in this room that know far more about that than I, though I created it, can they edit this?
They have to send me the edits, and then yes, absolutely, I will edit it. And there are some typos in there I caught the last time I went through this, and I haven't been back to fix it because I was presenting at the time. So I do know there's a couple typing errors and stuff in there.
And you know, I'm looking more for corrections on mistakes in content, but then, I mean, Kim has done so much exploring with it. A lot of people in this room have, and they know far more than I about it. I really visualized it as a starting point for this project that we're.
That you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I would be happy to add to it or make changes to it. You just have to let me know.
Just send you an email saying, by the way.
Yep. Here's some stuff. Please add it in. Yep. Tell me where you want it added in. As you scroll down, basically this is a story format with images. I love this image. And if you click on the title, I'm sorry, I'm right in your way, being here. If you click on the underlined title here, you get to the actual photo as it looks in the history portal. We're going to cover these tools more, but this little tool here allows you to see that full screen, and that orange box in the lower right corner, you can move with your mouse to see more. And as you zoom in with the plus sign up there, this orange box decreases in size. So you can zoom in even further. So in this particular image, I'm going to zoom for you so you can see what this looks like. That's as far as I can go on this one. And if I scroll this around now, this orange box, I can see more of what this looks like. This is from the Jack Demmons collection. And like I mentioned earlier, these aren't some of the highest quality photos that we have online. Our higher quality TIFFs, you really can zoom in tight on. Okay. So there's a big difference there. Yeah.
I can't get there on my phone. You went to exhibits?
Yes, so on the home page, there is a drop-down menu to get to that blue bar, and it is kind of hidden on a phone. So if you go up here to this hamburger,
Yeah.
no, that's not the one. This little arrow, that's the one. And then hit
There it is.
exhibits.
There it is.
Yep, it is hidden on a phone. I hate that it does that, but it does hide it. I'm going to jump back here. We also have a people, a places, and research guides for teachers and researchers. And so each of these are broken down the same way. Once you get in, there are several topics. You click the topic, you open it up, and you can read about the people, places, or research guides. I'm not going to take the time just now to go into those deeper because we're going to have time later this afternoon. Right now, I just kind of want to give you an overview of everything that's there. Okay? Okay. I'm going to go back up to the top of the page. These three buttons, collections, contributors, and exhibits, are here. Over on the far right are three more buttons. There's a Get Involved button that has newsletters, contests, and Become a Contributor under it. This is really important. If you want to contribute a collection, you want to click on that Become a Contributor because there's an application that goes with every collection. We don't just take anything and everything. So in order to know that you're interested in adding something, you fill out that application. You tell me kind of what it is. If you have questions, you can contact me. I'll help you fill out the application. But it's just a way to get the process started. And then from there, we can move on how to. On that Become a Contributor page is all kinds of information, too. There's information about scanning specifications, vendors that you can use to scan. There's information about how to create the metadata that goes with each item, and I'll talk about that more in a little while. But that page is kind of your full guide on how to become a contributor. The newsletters is just that. We publish a weekly newsletter. I have not updated this page in a few weeks because I am alone, as we talked about. But you can sign up with your email address to get the newsletter right there. They're broken down by year. We've been doing it for a few years now. And then you can see there are, in this left-hand corner, 173 documents in there. And what we do is every week we highlight something. So I send out just a brief newsletter that says, hey, have you seen this collection? Today's newsletter went out this morning, and it was about a webinar I did yesterday afternoon about our Lego contest. So also under that button was our contests. We sponsor 3 contests a year. We sponsor a writing contest in January. It opens in January, closes in February-ish, and it's for age groups 3rd grade through adult. We ask people to use a picture as their story starter, and then write the story and submit the picture with their story. And then we read all of those, we score them all, and then we announce winners. They get published on our site, and then they get sent prizes. We have some donors that have donated prizes. And then the meme contest we do every year in May. You take a photo and you create a meme. It's a lot of fun. They get really wild with it. I'm going to scroll to that and jump to that page so you can see some of the memes. If you click on that contest link, there are 3 contests. And if you click on the meme contest, you will see some, and scroll through. Here's an example. This was actually submitted in one of our contests. That look you get when you order tofu turkey in eastern Montana, and you can see that row of turkeys, ducks, and geese, and chickens, and whatever other poultry is hanging there. I don't remember who did it. I'd have to look. It's in the collection. All of these are online. You can look at all of them because we do upload them as a collection, and then you vote right on our website. So this one is more for fun. The writing contest is a little more serious. This one is obviously more fun, but we also ask everybody to vote, and there's a voting tool built into the site where people can vote for their favorites. And then we give prizes again in multiple age groups for this. And then the last one we did a pilot for last year. It's our Lego contest, and I'm going to go back to the contest page. We actually invited kids to take a photo and build it. So this is some that my colleague Dave built. This was his mine. This is inside his copper mine. He built an elaborate mine. There's photos of it in this collection. It is very cool. He also built 2 elaborate naval ships. One of them was the USS Helena, and we did this at the Lewis and Clark Public Library. And the room that he had his displays set up in, the anchor for the USS Helena sits right outside that room, so it worked out very well. But we had 43 participants, I think. We have 2 portions, a build on site and a build at home. So if you have lots of Legos at home, you can build at home and bring your project in. If you don't have Legos, you come to the library, you use their Legos, you build them that day, and you put them out, and they're judged separately because one obviously is going to get more time. So kids love it, and they got so involved, and they got so involved in their topics and the history of that topic that it actually worked out really well, and that's what we want. We want to invite kids into history. So that's why we do the contests. So the about over here is just that. It's a page with about information, our mission, our program description, all of the legal information, the staff directory for me. I'm it. It used to be a little longer. And then the last button over here in the corner, you can also access from our homepage, and I want to show you that. When you scroll below the search bar, need help, have a question, visit our help page. Both of those take you to a page with information about how to submit a ticket if you have a question. That comes to me as well. But if you scroll down, there's a list of how-to guides. And if you scroll down a little further, there's a series of video tutorials that talk about how to search our site. And this is one of 12. And if you hit this drop-down menu, you can jump to any of the 12. It's embedded right here on the screen. Or 11, I think there is. No, 12, excuse me. So it walks you through, one of my colleagues built these, it walks you through how to do different things on the site. Okay? So once you leave here and you go, oh my God, I don't remember what she said about that, it's all documented. You can get back to it. Okay? All right, now I'm going to focus on one other menu that is seen on every page, and that's this left-hand menu. There is the home button at the very top. There is a browse all button. I use this. I don't know that everybody would use this. This literally lets you browse all 92,000 items. You'll see that it says it goes to page 209. There's actually way more pages than that. That's just as many as the platform will display at once. There are 48 items per page. And if you scroll through it, you actually are just looking at every item on the screen. And just a reminder, this is in the list format. You can change that list display to the 4 squares and see those bigger squares, and so you can see a preview. And what that does is it gives you an opportunity to see this 1900 flood at Chinook at the stables of J.E. Ross a little bit better before you open it and see it full-sized. Okay. Before I open an image and we delve into looking at an image, I want to finish down this menu on the left. There is a search page. You could search from the home page or from the search page. You get one more option here that's called Search Within Fields. So every item has a list of data that goes with it, and you can pick the field that you want to search if you want with that Search Within field. And we'll circle back to that when we do a little more in-depth searching. The history, I'm logged in. So because I'm logged in, I have a My History page. The My History page gives me the opportunity to see everything I've done since I logged in today. So it gives me all the items I viewed, all the searches I've performed, or I can clear my history. And if you're doing extensive research, this is really helpful because you go, oh my God, I know I found that image. Why can't I get back to it? If you're logged in, you can click on this history and you can find everything you opened that day in a nice list and links back to each one. Okay. And it also gives you exact searches that you performed, so you know what you searched for to find the item.
That's just for the current session.
Yes, once you close out, that disappears. Okay. My profile is how you log in. And on your screen right now, it should say login. This allows me to change my password. If you log in later this session, I'll go through and approve you all, because I have to do that. You're waiting on me. Yeah. How long it takes? It takes as long as it takes me to get back to that page to approve you all, but I will do that quickly. When we take a break today, I'll go through and
You
approve.
have so much to do, Jen.
I do. It's a very busy job. I do. So then if you go down one more, once you're logged in, you get a My Collection. This is where you can save it, Judy. So once you find an image you really like, you can save it, and it gets dumped into your My Collection. And that didn't go for some reason. Oh, it's still trying. This builds a list on the left of everything you've ever saved, and on the right you can organize it into folders. You create the folder and you set it up how you want it. So on the left is everything I've ever saved, and on the right, look at Cheryl, I've been trying to do my homework. Jody Young, see? I haven't gotten very far. Oh, good, I haven't gotten very far. So I have homework to do for the workshop that I was at with Cheryl this summer. And this is what I started here. But so you see I have this folder of Jody Young, and I'm going to close that folder so you can see that there's other folders there where I have added all of these images into one spot where I can find them quickly. There's teacher workshop images, there's snowshoeing, planes, tractors and machinery, tent camps, teepees and lodges, wagons. These are all the images I found related to those topics in those blue folders, and when I click on one of those, I can see all of those images that I saved. I did. Yep. At the top of the screen, you can create a new folder, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Over here on the right is a share button. There is a rename the collection or close it, delete it altogether, get rid of it. If I hit the share button, it'll show you all of those images in a thumbnail format on the screen as soon as it loads. So then there's all the bridges. The reason I created this was the Lego contest. I gave kids some examples of things they could build. And we had somebody build, and it's a suspension bridge like this, but it isn't that particular one. So kind of a cool way to look at all your content really quickly in one folder. And then you can click on these and it'll take you to the place where it was stored, to the actual image.
So that would be the way to put it into like a lesson plan.
Lesson plan, yes, it would be. It would be, because then it's all right here. Yep, yep, that's exactly right. Yes, it can be documents, PDFs, whatever. Yep, yep, it can. Oops. So up here at the top, it says select a collection to add the items to, so I just select a collection, or I start a new collection. And as soon as I start a new collection, that's the first one that's going to be at the top. And I just name it whatever I want, and then I check the pictures I want or documents I want to go in that, and I move them all over. Okay. All right, under the More button, the last one on the page is just a few other items. I have a page of genealogy resources. That includes things like some cemetery indexes from here in Missoula, some from Billings, just kind of gotten a list of things there. A contact us page, you can get to my contributions. My private collection is if you were contributing content. And like I said, I don't have a good way for individuals to contribute content. So that's kind of, it comes with the platform and I can't turn it off. It really doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so that's kind of the menu. You will see on my screen an admin button. That's because I am the admin and I'm logged in as the admin. You guys won't see that admin button ever. Okay? Questions about the home page and navigating, getting through any of that? Okay, I'd really like to open a couple of items and show you how to navigate specific items once you have them open. Okay? So So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do that Browse All button again. And I'm going to scroll down. Let's go ahead and look at that 1900 flood at Chinook picture. We'll start with a photograph. You're going to see the photograph in the center of the screen. It is not huge, but it is not tiny either. On the right, you're going to see a column of details. This is as informative as the contributor made it. Okay, so the contributor actually writes this information. So here it says a 1900 flood at Chinook, J.E. Ross City Stables. The creator is Charles E. Morris. The genre is photographs. It's dated at 1900. On the left-hand side, you're going to see that the contributing institution of this photo is the Blaine County Museum in Chinook, and the collection is the Charles E. Morris Collection. So both sides of the image have information. I'm going to scroll down. There's also copyright information. You often have to scroll down to see it. In this case, this is a public domain image, okay, which means it can be used however you want. Most of our images have some sort of copyright attached to them. A lot of repositories insist that they all be public domain, but we know that that means people aren't going to find that image, and it might be the perfect image to use in a publication. And so we want to make it accessible, even though it's under copyright, and for you to contact the contributing institution to ask to republish or to get a full-size copy of it. I'm going to scroll down the details side here, because in addition to what it is and who the creator is, we also have things like subjects. Those are all hyperlinked. So if you wanted to see more images of floods, that first subject is floods. You'd click on it, and it would take you to every image in the history portal or every document that has the word floods attached as a subject. Okay, so those are all hyperlinked. If I wanted just to see more about Chinook, I could click Chinook, Montana in the geographic coverage. Or if I want to see more of the collection on either side of the page, I can click the contributing institution or the digital collection. And if I scroll down a little further, we learned how it was digitized, what size the original picture is an 8 by 10. It was digitized in 2023. And if you want to contact Chinook, the Blaine County Museum, their information to contact them is right here on the page. I told you can go to the contributing institution page and link to their homepage, but a lot of the contributors also include a contact us. Not all, because some are so small, they're like, oh, I can't do that. That's just too much. So, okay. Once you're in the image, there's a list of tools on the left. And this is the same list of tools whether you're looking at a document, a PDF document, or a photograph, or an oral history. You know, we always have this list of tools. So the 4 arrows pointing outward expand it to full size. And you'll see that all we're seeing here is the sky. So you have to click and drag on the image itself to move it around and see a little bit of it. The 4 arrows pointing inward shrink it back down to the window size. The 2 arrows pointing out make it the width of your screen. The 2 arrows pointing up make it the height of your screen. Or if you just need a different perspective on it, you can rotate it and take a look at it in a different rotation. And then this magic button right here is that enlarge to full size. What you can do is zoom on it in this zoom bar here, but you're going to run into that same issue where you're seeing just sky. And you'll see that once I've done that, that little square is flashing. It's saying, hey, click me, I'll give you a better experience. Okay, and it will. So if you click that guy, now we see the whole thing with that orange box around it in the lower right-hand corner to show you how much of it we're actually seeing. Now we're seeing some details in this image, much better. We can see there's a railroad track behind this barn with a train on it. And I can scroll this orange box around, or I can scroll the image itself around. Either one will work to move it around. And I can zoom in further. And this is a higher resolution image. This particular image, the original, was really grainy, so you aren't seeing great details here. But you get the idea that you can really zoom into these. And my orange box is tiny here now on this image. If you take a look, all I have around it is the roof of the barn, and that's what we're looking at. Okay. Where this is really great is if you have a wide shot of a lot of people and you want to zoom in on faces. So I'm thinking of that Jack Demmons collection where there's a lot of group shots of people and kids. Again, because those aren't the highest quality images, the zoom isn't really great, but you can zoom in and tighten in on faces, things like that. Okay. I'm going to close that view. There is a text box here. This is an image, so this will not work, but if we're looking at a document, this would give you a transcription of that document, and we'll look at one later so you can see that. And then if you scroll down, there is a download button. Depending on the collection, you may not be able to download the item. I can download the metadata, but I can't download the item in these. That is set by the contributor. And that is because a lot of our smallest museums make money by selling reproductions, and they don't want to make it easy for people to download. Okay? And I want to abide by what museums tell me to do by that. So that's what that is there for. The metadata, though, is all this information on the right gets printed on a piece of paper for you, so you can refer back to that and have all this information, including the hyperlink to this item gets printed on there. This little star right here will add it to my collection, so that'll put it in my favorites. So if I find the image I really want, the star is going to take me right to my favorite, put it right in my favorites collection. The email is to email me about a question. So if you're like, hey, this metadata is all wrong, I know more about this, and you send me an email, then I'll work through some channels in Blaine County to make sure and verify what you're telling me is accurate, and I can update the metadata. Okay? Or if you go, hey, I have a question about this, you can email me the link to it. And this last one, kids love. You can cite your source right there. You just click those little quotation marks, and it will give you the citation for the item. So if you're writing about it, you're using it in something you're publishing, you can cite your source right here. Okay? So those are all the fun tools on the side. I'm going to go back to the Browse All button because I want us to do this with a document so you can see the difference. We'll start with a PDF document. All of our yearbooks are uploaded as PDF files. So if you open this, you're going to see kind of a PDF viewer in the middle of the page. If I scroll down, we see the rest of that page, the Wapiti. This is the Augusta Robe yearbook from Augusta, Montana. And as you can see, scroll through every page of this. There, you can hide the metadata with that little double arrow, and you can hide all these tools on the left with this little double arrow and make a little more room on the page for scrolling. You can't adjust for height very well, and that is frustrating for people. So the thing to know about PDFs is that little double arrow on the right that points out is a tools menu. That is not something that is easily discernible. I don't know why it's so hidden. No. But if you click that tools button, you get a bunch of options. You can jump to the first, you can view the current page bigger, you can jump to a different page, go to first, last, rotate. But what I like is this presentation mode, because then you're seeing it full size. And tapping the mouse just lets you jump to the next page. And so you're seeing each page in order just by touching through.
Can you do a text search?
You can. So if I escape out of that, there is a search button right there, a little search icon. So now I can search within this document. And the reason that we uploaded yearbooks as PDFs is so that you could search within it. Because we figure people are going to open a year they remember, and then they want to search that book, not start at the very beginning, right? So in this case, I chose Smith, just a very generic name, and boom, well, lo and behold, there's a Smith there, and it's highlighted on the page for us, okay? And it says it is one of 3 matches, so these little arrows here will let me jump to the next match. So Gail Smith is also in this yearbook. And there's one more. Patty Smith is in this yearbook. Okay, so we can jump through all of those hits as we find them within a PDF document. Okay, so that's one document type. There is yet another, and I'm going to go back to that Browse All page, and I'm going to select a document type for you.
Steve, that Augusta yearbook had Tim Troy, a picture of Tim Troy.
I know Tim Troy. I know Tom Troy, actually.
Tim was on our tour Wednesday. He was in that picture there.
These ones that don't have images on them, but they have the little microphone next to them, are audio files, just so you know as you're scrolling through. If you see ones without pictures, it's an audio file with the little microphone next to it. I want to get to a document, so bear with me while I scroll a bit. I might have to do this a different way, or we'll be scrolling forever, I'm afraid. Oh, maybe here we go. This is a document file. Okay, so here is a $25 reward for arrest wanted at Dillon, Montana for forgery. The name is Charlie Wolverton, alias Jose Ybarra, age about 26 years. So this is a document file. It looks like an image when you look at it because it's been scanned as an image but uploaded as a document. But this now text button here, remember we talked about that? The only big difference in this particular instance is this, and we will see an OCR, which is an optical character recognition done by the computer. With our handwritten materials, that OCR isn't going to work. Okay? So what this does is it made every word of this page searchable, that OCR text, just like every word in those PDF documents is searchable. Photos, of course, have no words attached to them, so we rely on the metadata, that description on the right, to make those searchable. But if I go to, I'm going to open collections here again, and I'm going to jump to the Evelyn Cameron diaries. I need to go to page 2. Oh, I think maybe, did she push to page 3 on me? Nope, there she is. So at the Evelyn Cameron diaries, bless some volunteers' heart, they've all been transcribed. And so these are all handwritten. There are 35 diaries in this collection.
How many pages?
It goes every day of the year. So there's a block for like 2 or 3 days per page. So there's probably 100 pages or better in each one.
So 800 pages?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So if you look at these, you're going to see she has cut and paste. It looks like a news article and glued it into the book. She's handwritten on the left. And then as you go into these, you might see some typed text depending on the book because there's a diary for 1901. So if I open the text, OCR is going to try to read it, and it's going to do its best, but it's not going to make sense of that table on the left. That a computer just doesn't understand what that is. So as you get in here to where she is handwritten, and you have to go in a few pages to get there, and then click on this transcription button at the top, now you can see the part that somebody went through and painstakingly read all of her handwriting, which you can see is not easy to read, even if I zoom in on that. And I will zoom in on that so you can see. You can see memoranda is there. Letters written. So you can kind of see her handwriting. But then when she gets really cramped for space, she goes back with red ink and writes in between her own lines. And so the orientation, so like it says 2 tumblers, 9, 1 glass, I'm assuming that's 9-inch maybe, 1 glass jug, 5/3, 1 hot water jug, 2 teacups, 1 saucer, 1 candlestick. That's the stuff she went back and added at the top. It's not usually part of her original entry for that day. That comes down a little further. And so she's wrote all this, she ran out of room, she went back to the top of the page and filled in the rest at the very top around the words memoranda when she ran out of room. So somebody read all that and figured it out and put it in this transcript. And so when you're reading the transcript, sometimes the words don't line up at the top of the page like this one does because they added it after in the order she meant to write it, where here it says letters written continued at the top. So if we scroll down to the bottom of that, it'll be what she had started and then flowed over to the top of the page.
Did somebody do that process for
you?
Yeah, well, they did it for the Historical Society. The Historical Society, well, or for the Evelyn Cameron Museum in Terry, I'm not sure which. It was a volunteer from Terry who did it. And then the Historical Society loaded all of these on to the history portal. Yeah, that's a labor of love. Somebody has to want to do that. I mean, that's time consuming. I do have a gal in Bannock right now. There are 4 diaries from Bannock, from the original homesteaders in Bannock. It's a mother-daughter. I have the 8-year-old daughter's online now. It's not fully published. But the mother's got 2 or 3, and I'm working on those next and adding those in. So they take a little time for me to build and to build properly. You will notice that with a document, unlike a PDF, each thumbnail of each page is across the bottom of the screen. And at the top is a page sorter. And if you drop down that little arrow right there, all the pages of this document will be displayed so you can jump to a page so you know where you are. Whoops, excuse me. So you know where you are in the book. Questions about navigating an image or an item?
So if you wanted to search that entire diary for some word, all the pages, can you do that?
Not from here. You have to start at the beginning under search, and I'm going to show you that. That's a great question. So let's do that. What's a word in here that might not be? I'm going to search butter dish. Okay, just a random word. All right, and I'm going to go to the home page, and I'm going to type in butter dish, just like it wasn't capitalized, just like it was written. And then I'm going to go to item type. I know that these were uploaded as a document, so I'm going to select document. I only want to search the documents for that term. Okay. If it was 2 words, like butter dish or butternut squash or something like that, where there's more than 1 word, I would also hit the search for over here on the right and select exact phrase so that I wasn't searching for each word individually. Okay. In this case, it's 1 word, so I'm going to hit the search button, and it's going to go through every document. And lo and behold, butter dish is only in the 1901 Diary of Evelyn Cameron. So that's not an extensively used word in other documents. No. So this is not Google. So unfortunately, no, it does not do that, and I'm really glad you asked that. There are some Boolean operators that we'll get into this afternoon when you do a search, and I'll show you this really quick. I'm going to do a new search. This is going to search everything because I didn't tell it to search just documents or just pictures. I use Grizzly a lot because it's just a really good way, a good broad term. So now that I have done this broad search, I can refine search terms. Okay, so I can click there and add. So if what I really want is a grizzly bear, not University of Montana Grizzlies or something like that, I can narrow it down. But I also, on the left-hand side here, can sort by item type. So I can say, oh, what I really wanted was not all this documents, which came up first. I just wanted an image. And if you look down the side there, each one of those have a number next to it. There are 4 pieces of artwork, 39 audios, 3 books, 1 contributor, 63 documents that have the word grizzly in it. So if what I want is an image, then I would click on image and it would sort it to just those 86 images. And now I can see the bears or grizzlies that are listed there. If you notice next to each one of those, there is a drop-down arrow as well, which allows me to select which digital collection, who the creator was, some other subjects, the contributing institution, or the geographic coverage. And as you click on each one of those, it drops down another menu. So if I wanted to see a particular creator, say I wanted to see the grizzly bear picture taken by F.J. Haynes. He is listed, Haynes picture is listed there. So if I click Haynes now, there are just 4 images that should come back. And that's from the Haynes Photoshop. Okay. So there are these ways to refine the list on the left. The other thing that you can do is filter and sort by what it starts with. And so I'm going to hit the back arrow a couple times to get rid of some of this. Oops, let's go forward one. Okay, so I'm back to my original search results for grizzly. There are 751. I can say it starts with, and pick the letter that it starts with, because we know that these are always going to list out in alphabetical order. They start with the dates, the earliest dates, and then they move to alpha order. So if I know that the image I'm looking for started with the letter J, I don't know if that'll be in here or not. Yeah, J.B. Home photo album, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, James Brownlee collection. All of the J items will come to this list in just the J items. Okay. Has the following, this is not as helpful in our collection, OCR or tag, and then within data, titles only. So if I only want to search titles with Grizzly Bear, I can select that. And then if I'm looking for a particular date range, I can also select a range of dates and narrow my collection search again. Does that give you a lot to think about? It's a little overwhelming, which is why we scheduled this long, because now our plan is to practice a little bit. But I'd like to take a short break unless you have some immediate questions. And then we're going to come back, and I'm going to walk you through some specific searches, and I'm going to have you practice and play with some of these tools.